Hold up, Sean. Oh, can you hear me? No.
Just the me show today, apparently.
Oh my God. Can you hear me? Am I coming in laggy?
Oh, well, your video's a little bit, but your voice is completely fine.
How do I? What's the command for latency?
What's the command for latency? Are you trying to check, or what? And I lost you.
You can't hear me at all, can you? Is it just?
I can.
Yeah. Is it
I
ping?
can hear you, but your video's like. Yeah, well, I think ping will ping a site or whatever. I know sometimes I use speed test or whatever.
Like, oh yeah, I forgot. I could just use a website to test my internet connection.
Yeah.
All right, let me see it. Internet speed. And I assume that by default it's going to have Google. So it's 150 megabits per second download.
So it's your upload.
And it says 85 megabits per second upload.
Well, that should be just fine then. I'm not sure why you're having trouble. Maybe it's on the.
So maybe it's my machine and not the internet.
It could be that, or it could be this particular connection to StreamYard.
Let me undo my cam. All right, test. My name is Scott Dog. I'll run up in the mall like a mother. Am my image coming in straight? Yeah, your lag is.
And
It sounds like nothing's changed, right? So
yeah.
what else can I kill on here? It says Office. Let me kill that. All right, so as I'm killing stuff, so I'll turn off my profile image or my profile video, whatever, you know what I'm saying. How's everything with you? And I'm just going to be killing off tasks or processes in Task Manager and then try to bring my video back on again.
It's fine. getting kind of antsy because I took like the last week and a half off from running because my foot's been sore, and still today there's really no change in that. So I think I'm just gonna say hell with it and deal with the discomfort and run on it.
I wouldn't do that.
I think I don't know what the heck it is, but I'm a month out now, less than a month out from the marathon, and I
You
can't
can't.
I can't
You
just
can't bicycle.
I mean I could, but I don't think the cardiovascular thing is the problem. I think I need to keep building up the ability to put pressure on my legs and stuff like that.
I know what might be the issue. This anti-malware service.
Oh yeah, pretty much always those things.
Because I haven't turned this computer on in like since last Friday. Since last time we met, my personal laptop has been off.
hmm
I haven't checked my email forever. Do you check your email like every day?
Pretty much. I mean, not every day, but most every day.
I hate being on a computer, hence the computer programmer. So like
Yeah.
I check my email like once, maybe twice a week, and it's just filled with spam.
I always check it on my phone for the most part. I rarely check it on the computer, but
I only check email on my phone when I'm at the airport and I'm trying to pull up my confirmation so I can show my QR code.
mm,
I like being disconnected, dude. So
yeah, it makes sense. So you
yeah,
can't
so I
show off
got
without your video. You can't show off your mega Lego collection that you're building.
yeah, man. So if I share my video, it's just gonna make things. I'll share it anyway. Whatever. Um, give me a second. Share. Okay. So you wanted to see what I have queued up?
Sure.
You see my card has 11 items.
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled the trigger, obviously, because it's still my shopping cart, even though I was at the toy store yesterday again for the like fourth day in a row.
hmm
Um, I kind of want to build an army, like a Republic army, really a slaughter. I want to build I want to do a slaughterhouse where I have like the Star Wars Republic or Imperial. I always get the two confused. Are they the same thing?
No. If you think about them as being system of governments within the Star Wars universe, and then I mean the Empire and the Republic were two forms of it. It's like yeah, but
Yeah.
anyways.
So
Mm.
this one is almost definitely I'm going to get this Lego Star Wars Vendor class Republic attack cruiser. Right? I understand that that's not Republic.
Well, that's a Republic
The,
one, is it?
yeah, no. Hold on. What did I say? Which one's the bad guys? The
The Empire. Yeah.
the Empire. All right. Yeah. So I want to build a Republic slaughterhouse in which the Empire slaughters them. So I have a couple Republic pieces, but then I'll just have a huge Empire like army, not even militia, like army or legion, like like coalition of the willing, right?
hmm
And so I'll this will be my mat that I'll put on the table that I don't have to support the collection. This is another Republic fighter that I look forward to. The
That's a rebel fighter. Wasn't it?
Rebel Fighter. I don't know.
Are you a
I
big Star Wars guy, or I mean,
no. When I was a kid, my dad used to just sit us in front of the TV, and that would keep us occupied, like the old school ones. But like I can never stay awake during any of the movies.
hmm,
So yeah, I'm kind of out of touch. Amazon doesn't have, and everything else looks boring. Like I wanted to look at the like the NASA. First, I wanted to see if there was any military Lego sets, and there's not. Like there's no like F-35, F-22 Hornet. There's none of that, right? And I guess it makes sense because Lego's not a American company; it's a Danish company. Um,
well, yeah, and
it,
there's probably less licensing um, stuff like people want to collect for that
it's a
stuff.
secret clearance.
See, I like the
China will
old,
buy it all up.
yeah,
Um,
I like the old Lego sets, specifically the medieval. Oh, I'm hearing myself now. The medieval ones and the pirate ship ones, and pirate ones. Those ones were always really cool. They don't. I don't know that they really do much of that
are you
anymore.
still
They
hearing
still have the
yourself, or
city.
did it go away?
It went away, I think, but I think they still have the city line. But um, like they've got some of those NASA ones and stuff. But but man, I really liked the.
Like I would totally get into this stuff right here. I would totally get into this stuff right here, but they don't really have a mature collection. They have the Mars rover Perseverance. They have the what is it, Saturn rocket or V5 Saturn rocket, whatever you call that thing. Which one is this? Oh, this is the Artemis one. Oh, that's new. So I could. This is new because I swear to God they didn't have this like yesterday. You see how they put limits on here?
Oh yeah, so you don't buy up all of them at once.
Yeah, because apparently Lego, um, people invest in Legos with with the intent that when Lego sets get retired, that they can make a profit selling them. Oh my God, this stuff is so slow, man. You see all this,
Yeah.
this, and
Well, and then you're you're not
this.
really even overtaxing your system. I think I'm using more probably than you are. So, but yeah, they had like it looks like in their icons when they have some of the older ones, but yeah, they don't really have the ones that I remember, which were like let me see what I don't even know if they called them specific collections, but they had dragons and like freaking archers and um I mean castles and knights and all of that kind of stuff. If you get into like the vintage, ones.
Uh, I mean, the modern one is what's that franchise movie? You know what I'm talking about. They have a Universal ride, or they have roller coaster rides at Universal Studios. Harry Potter, right? That's a
Yeah,
modern version of that, right?
not really. I mean, Harry Potter is not anywhere like anything like the castle sets and the medieval Crusaders sets. I suppose probably they stopped with the Crusaders, but man, I had like a lot of these Battle Dragon, Black Monarch's Ghost, Dragon Hunter, Dungeon Hunters. I think I had most of these sets, but
Nerd.
yeah, when I was a kid. I mean, I've got some of them still, but yeah, I know I've got Thanos's glove up here. I don't know if you can see that, and then the Millennium Falcon next to it right there for Lego sets now. But I mean, I've got a bucket of Legos, but I had the pirate ship too. The pirate ship was cool. Or no, it wasn't a pirate ship. It was it was like the British ship or whatever. The like, was it? It wasn't the pirate ship. No, this one had sails on it and everything. Oh, maybe it was this one. Yeah, they used to have a bunch of ships too, like pirate ships and stuff like that. I wonder if they still have those. I mean, they have a pirate ship, but
Have you paid attention to Microsoft Build Conference?
no, not really.
Neither have I.
The I think they had something with Meta with what do they call them, voluminous apps or something like that, but I haven't looked into it. Usually when it's going on, I see a crap load of stuff on Twitter or X or whatever, but not really anymore.
How many more years do you have left in your career
Oh God,
before you become homeless?
before I become homeless. I don't think I'll ever become homeless, but
Before you lose your cognitive ability to design and build?
I don't know. I'm on the downward track already.
I still find myself rubber stamping pull requests.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I really hate feature branches. I hate it with a passion, based on the majority of work that I do, which isn't medical devices. It's not energy infrastructure. It's not even deployed most of the time. It's usually the MVP or the version 1 that hasn't been even released yet. Every single time, this is me venting. Every single time I see opportunities to clean up code that's unrelated, instead of just doing it, I can't. I have to just focus on what's being done, even though it takes literally like 10, 15 seconds for me to just clean it. But no, I really hate that workflow.
Well,
I hate
I
it with
mean,
a passion.
why don't you just clean it up? Or do people actually get mad at you? Because like I
Pe-
clean up
pe-
stuff, but I don't go on major refactoring runs.
because I'm new and I know it won't go over well when trying to make a first impression.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a different problem though. It's not the same thing. That's not a problem with the pull request thing. It's a problem with, or it's an idea of building
Following
trust.
directions.
It's about building trust and a relationship with other developers first, and then like I'm starting to now bring in stuff that I think at my job that I'm like, I really wish I had this, but I'm not going to do it right away because I don't want to come in and be like, stop doing what you're doing, do it my way, kind of a thing. But
Uh,
like, I really like using commands and structuring application code around commands in .NET, and using Mediator to kind of facilitate that. And
you talking about like system.windows command or system.windows.i command?
no, but it's kind of similar in the concept. So
You know
like
you're a geek when you literally know the namespace or the full path of an interface in .NET.
yeah, yeah, that'd be a fun like thing, like
Watch
a
this
game
one.
show. Be
Yeah,
like,
here,
tell me the path to I list something like
all
that.
right. Well, here's a trivia question.
Generic. Yeah.
What is the fully qualified path to assert? I'll give you a hint.
Assert.
It's debug.assert.
Oh, debug data cert. I thought you were talking like a cert. Um, System diagnostics
Yep.
debug
Yep. Good job.
assert. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I do enough. I know that by heart. I know the system.windows. I think it's systems.windows. Input. I command.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I'm talking about this is more of like a pattern. Um, so like what what basically this is like the natural progression I see. So like people will generally they'll create like services like be like iCustomer service, an interface for it. And they'll create a service and it'll have a bunch of things that you interact with that customer on, like tons of them. And sometimes they're not just the customer, it's like other things that have to be involved in it. But you have these domain services and they get to be these really, really epic long things. So like an initial split somebody might do is be like, okay, I'm going to split up one's for reading the customer and one's for like updating the customer, and then they'll make that split and then they'll start to be like, okay, well, this is still getting too big. I need to break it up further. Um, but basically what you do if you follow that kind of natural progression long enough, you get down to where every single action that you take on the customer becomes its own interface, like a sub component of the customer class. And then once you've reached that, you've basically gotten into the command pattern. So it's basically like you have a module, a cohesive single purpose module that is focused on one particular command from the application, rather than thinking about it like a bunch of like little services that usually end up getting mixed up being like data access and like domain
so
services. But
M-
um,
Microsoft Foundational or Microsoft Foundation classes, MFC with C++. You had and you could probably explain this better than I can, but you had this message pump.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I'm
And your
familiar with it, but yeah, I'd
and
better explain it.
your command, from what I recall, wasn't like the Gang of Four design patterns command. It was just like a symbol that was mapped to some like long numeric type, and it would just
Yeah,
mean something.
yeah,
Uh,
it was a little weird, but this is more just a way of structuring code. So like if you had something like an invoice that you're going to post, right?
hmm
Um, so that might be part of like an invoice service where you have like a post method on that service, and then you're calling that. Or though this what this advocates for, I believe, is like the idea you have or the way that I like to structure it is you have a single file called post invoice, and that's the entire intent of that module. So it's a single, but you have potentially multiple classes in there. So you have your actual like a request type, which is what are all of the parameters that go into that, and then you've got your response type. What are the actual results of it?
you said
And
this
then
is an
you've got
entire file.
it's a file, yeah. So you break down a module, yeah, file. You break down these things into a single module. So you've got basically one function or method per per file, but they're focused on what you're doing. Um, and then mediator comes in because once you do that, if you're trying to like inject that into controller, you'd have like a billion of these like individual commands that are injected, and mediator just helps with dispatching a command to a particular handler. Um, but I don't know. I like structuring it that way because it's like you can go to a file and everything in there is that file, and all the dependencies for the handler are for that purpose. They're not for any other purpose. So you don't have to compete with like I don't know if you've looked at classes or controllers that have like they've got constructors that are a mile long because there's a billion things that are getting injected into it
Yep.
to handle each of the individual ones. It solves that. You never have that anymore because you have the controller, you just inject mediator, and then you dispatch a command, and that goes to a handler. The handler only has what it needs to do that one particular job or command, and that's it. You don't have to worry about these like millions of injections that don't mean anything. And if you want to, let's say, delete code, it's really simple. You just delete the whole file, and then just remove the bindings wherever you have it in the app. It's really simple. You don't have to try to figure out, well, does this thing this is using,
I don't use
is it
IOC
needed by
containers.
other things?
IOC containers are for losers. That's it.
Well, you probably do if you're doing APIs in .NET, not F sharp, but in C sharp. You are pretty much like required now.
I haven't used the IOC container in .NET in a long time. Last time I purposely used the IOC container was when I was doing Prism, WPF Prism. Like
I mean, it's I don't know why anyone would be against it. It's just fine.
it's something that's simple that people try to at interviews try to make it very complicated.
It is super simple. And inversion of control it's a dependency injection, container, but it's really not that complicated. I don't know why.
I've been at I've worked at organizations in which I swear to God they had a story saying create an IOC container to support dependency injection, and it was slated to take 2 weeks. I swear to God, I'm not making this up.
Yeah, I don't like that's it's a solved. It's the thing is though, it's a solved problem now. It's like it's just part
it's
of the
it's
of
people that
ASP.NET
it's people that want job
or
security,
Microsoft.
so they say words to make it sound really advanced, and they just suck
Yeah,
at
but that's
time
not a
not
problem
doing
with
anything.
the
I
that's not
literally
a
worked
problem
at a
with the
place doing that.
I know that's not a problem with the pattern or anything. It's a good pattern. It's just um it's not a problem with that. It's a problem with the organizations or people not understanding what things are. Like,
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks from that job.
but dependency injection is just fine. I mean, it's very useful. I,
Nope. I just rely on constructors and injecting interfaces into them, and that's it.
just manually. So you're
Yeah,
doing dependency injection. You're just not using an IOC container.
I hate
So you're
IOC container. I don't hate
so
them.
you're rolling it manually.
I just think it's overkill, and I hate when people try to sound elegant when they talk about it. Saying dependency injection in which the context is IOC container. It's like people that use the term conversate. I just hate it. It's overkill for what needs to be expressed.
But it's just a simplification. I mean, I understand like people making a big deal out of it because it's such a simple thing. Like, there's some complexity in building them for sure, but you shouldn't build any anymore. It's a solved problem. Like, there's a ton of like you just use Microsoft's built-in one, and if you don't use that, you use what Ninject or just Castle or what.
I
There's
was
like a
I was working with
dime of
retards.
dozens of them. So,
I was
but
working with
yeah,
retards, and I was deemed the person that was difficult to work with because I was calling it out.
don't hate the pattern just because somebody didn't do it right, something like that, or was yeah. Anyways,
Extreme prejudice. Uh, that's it. How often do
yeah,
you interview people at your job?
not too often.
You
I
seem
just
like
did an
you're
interview last week.
a laid back interviewer. You don't seem like you hold people to the fire.
No, I don't. I don't really. Honestly, I don't think. I really don't think interviews are very good at determining you know the um the chops of people. Like like you can weed out some basic stuff with it with just like simple coding tests and stuff like that. Um,
I'm anti coding tests.
yeah, but I think that is good, but just a minimal one. Because there are a lot of people that lie on what they do, and they get into jobs and then they like don't know how to do it. But they're there long enough and they trick people long enough that coming into other jobs they're like, oh yeah, I have experience. So, but I mean, it's a little nerve wracking to do them, and maybe it even disqualifies people that are just they get nervous, which isn't maybe not fair, but in general, it's I think that's about the only thing that's valuable. And then just the asshole test, is this person a jerk? You sometimes get that out in an interview.
Oh, they get that from me. I restrain. I restrain myself. I think I do a pretty good job of making the interview about the person versus making the interview about what I know. If they get a question wrong, right?
Yeah,
I tend to just not even go into it. I just go to the next question.
but yeah, I'm tend. I mean, I wish there was more of a you know higher fast fire, or no, was it just like higher fast type thing? Because it's like it's just there's I don't know that there's
Isn't that what the probation period of 90 days is?
yeah, the fire fast stuff. It's kind of a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I think that there's some technical things, and then just the cultural stuff about just making sure they're not a jerk to talk to. Um, and that's about it. I'm pretty laid back. I don't really get into it too much.
I don't think you would hire me based on the jerk part. I will try my best to try to like hide it in the interview, but like in my interviews, man, I'll say things that are unpopular. Like when I ranted on IOC containers, like I'll say that in the interview.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think but I think if you can articulate why,
See, I don't like
it shouldn't be as
just
bad.
just listen to you though. I don't think you have any technical problem with IOC containers. I think you've got a totally just some bad experiences with just like I've had bad experiences with people doing things with messaging wrong. I still think messaging is really really cool, and I like it using it the right way, and it taught me how not to do it. um, like we were using Tibco at my first job for like the stupidest things. Like the way it was structured, everything was just bad. Um, down to like how we did like structures, and like we did everything request response. Like instead of synchronous requests, we did like a request response structure with like where you would send out a message and then like wait for its response back on another channel or bus, whatever, using a correlation ID. It was like freaking, it was awful. There's so much stuff we weren't doing that was just awful. But I still like messaging because when you learn how to do the patterns correctly, or learn about like how you execute commands and how to structure messages and like all that, it's a lot better. So, anyways,
Name another trivia question about namespaces.
namespaces. Oh, I'll
Yeah,
get
never.
you one.
All right.
Yeah. What's the actual one for a certificate? I would never get that, by the way.
System.windows.security. Is that the prefix?
I'm not sure actually. I should look it up. But there, I
I
thought
mean
there
that
was like
that that has to be a NuGet package, right? That's not going to be within the .NET framework.
no, it should be in the .NET framework.
System.windows.security.cryptography.
I think it's cryptography.
The question is Windows part of it?
Well,
Well,
it's
yeah, it should be. Yeah.
certificate. Um,
You're talking about Xcert 502, right?
yeah, that kind of stuff. Um, like X509, I think is the one I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah.
of. X509. So let's see, system security cryptography, I think is the namespace for that one.
So here's the question.
So yeah, there's like system security cryptography X509 certificates. That's the one I was thinking
Yeah,
of.
but what's the namespace that leads to it again?
System security cryptography.
Okay, there's no Windows in it. Okay.
No,
So so here's a question. On a greenfield project, do you when you
again,
create when you create a project, do you give the project name the same convention as the namespace, or do you just, so for example, uh, organization XYZ dot um, feature name. Usually there's a whole bunch of more dots in the namespace. Do you have your projects? Do you have your project names within your solution aligned with the namespace in regards to the
Not
naming convention?
anymore. No.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be hooks into there. So my thing would be, let's say you're building, let's just say you're building a customer service, right? And
All
you
right.
work for Acme Corp. So my namespace might be like, Acme Corp dot customer dot whatever, beyond that. The way I'd probably set up my solution is the solution would be a lowercase customer. That would be what it would be. I'm not saying that I would actually make a customer service like this, but and then I'd have probably 3 projects in it. I'd probably have web or API. Actually, I've used API a lot more. Then I'd have core, and I'd probably have one for like data potentially, um, just out the gate. And those would be just the project names would be like API, core, data, or I don't know. So data is the one I've always had trouble with because it's like it's not just data. It's like I want to have something for inbound adapters and one for outbound
My
adapters. And API is very obvious for inbound adapters, but outbound adapters I'm not really sure about.
so
Um,
mine is my solution structures are usually a project called whatever dot server, right? And that's going to run the API, the web API.
mhm.
The other one is whatever dot data gateway. That data gateway is going to have the implementation details of what it means to transport data and receive data. Well, usually transport data. There's you say dot core. Mine is yeah. It's I either use the term core or I'll use the term well, yeah, I'll use core, but then the ones that I toggle back and forth on is recently within my data gateway project within my solution, I just include the data transfer structures. You people call them DTOs, right? Where I used to have a dedicated project for data transfer structures, but now I just throw it inside of my data gateway.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
else are you going to use it? I mean, what one would argue, oh, you use an entire solution, but I like having that stuff separate. This is where this is where I fumble because there's so much work trying to build rich domain types that I tend to just default to using your data transfer structures as business objects.
yeah. A lot of people
But I
do.
get tired of doing the conversion. Like when I want to use like domain primitives, which are like you have the smart constructors to even qualify if this business
Yeah,
value or business structure should be constructed in the first place. I almost have an entire library just for conversions, and I just get tired of converting things to and from.
yeah. I know because you've got to like do. I've thought of like that's a problem I want to solve because I feel like it's very. It would be great if you could build a kind of like a some kind of a combination of like AutoMapper and a validate. So are you familiar with AutoMapper? Because
Again,
AutoMapper
well,
helps with a lot of of stuff like that. I don't like AutoMapper because there's a lot of I'd rather just manually map things
me
because then I
too.
can handle everything.
Is
But it
AutoMapper and Dapper related at all, or are those two different
no,
things?
they're completely different.
Okay,
AutoMapper is basically just this object and this object look similar, map them from one to the other. And
okay,
you should only really use it to map like out. I really think it should only be used to map outbound data. Like you've got a like a domain thing, and you're just trying to create a DTO from it. You can map out like using AutoMapper, and it's just a pretty much a clone of the same thing. But that's I feel like you could create something like AutoMapper, maybe even use AutoMapper with the knowledge that you're going into those kind of types that are whatever, and then handle all of validation and accumulate the response. The same way like you would do validation incoming on with model validation in .NET. So you decorate like string length or whatever is this, and then you get like a list of errors. If you built smart constructors following a similar like pattern, you could maybe achieve something like that, I think. Um,
Hmm.
but and then you could use maybe source generators to do it. I don't know. Source generators is a thing that I haven't really tapped into, but
Are you
I could
talking about
see them being
T4
really
templates or no?
what?
As in
No,
like T4 templates?
no source generators like so source generators basically like I believe how it works is that like there's a pre-compile step or some sort of compilation step that happens, and then that feeds into your source generator, which then allows you to write additional code. Or sorry, no, it does parsing, I think, and that feeds into your source generator where you can write code, and then it does the final compilation from the additional code that you write. But regardless, it allows you to generate code into your assembly as part of kind of the framework or whatever. So um, you can see how well I can explain it, which makes me means I'm
Yeah,
not.
you just failed the interview.
Yeah. Well, if I was trying to become a source generator, I need. If I was trying to apply for an expert source generator maker, I'm not that, but at least I know about them. You know.
So this is what I do during interviews. Recently, I say, "Hey, I understand that we've been asking questions to you that may not be aligned with us realizing the value that you could bring to us because we're scoping it to our needs, and we're somewhat ignorant about the entire picture of the value that you bring. So instead of us continuing our search in the pool of candidates that we have to interview after you, like we really want to just terminate our search. Like, how would you help us understand that we no longer have to continue vetting candidates because you are going to help us? How would you market yourself to us? All right.
I'd fail that question. It's
Almost everybody's failed that
too
question.
broad. Yeah. Um,
Well, I damn near brought a prospectus when I interviewed at this company. Like, I had like a pamphlet. I had like a 3-4 page Word document of what I was going to deliver to them before the interview even started. I just immediately shared it with them on Zoom
I'm going to do code and
because I feel like you have to try to take command of the interview or take control of it and try to sell them versus just an interrogation. Like, because I think answering the questions that they're asking you, obviously there's value and there's intent. But if you don't have an opportunity to really help them understand why you're valuable to them outside of the .NET questions, how do you really distinguish yourself from all the other candidates, past and future? I'm curious if you agree with that sentiment. I don't know. I probably butchered that word. Sentiment, whatever.
sentiment. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. The thing is that I don't know that there's anybody who's particularly special. I mean, there are people who are if you're looking at specific targeted like solutions or very acute problems, there are people who are very good at certain things and are amazing over other people. And there's definitely people that are like they're just able to pump out things. Like there's unicorns out there,
So,
but they're you're like generally for the jobs that I'd be seeking, most people are about the same. I mean,
Like
Yeah.
this is what I'm looking for, and you could say, Scott, that's a that's an awful expectation, right? I'm looking for someone to say, okay, what's the space you're working in? What type of challenges are you running into? Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you my experience with that. I've had some good experiences and some not so good experiences. Let me tell you the not so good experiences first, and then what I've learned, and then how I applied it. That would be an automatic. Yeah, let's hire them, right? If they can like express empathy because they've been there, done that, and then say, this is what we've attempted to do to address this. Like if they could come in with like some domain knowledge about what challenges we're facing, that would be a lot easier interview versus just going through a checklist of, oh, do you know what an IOC container is? Do you know what middleware is? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think that do you know these things are is a probably a pretty poor interviewing tactic. Unless you can ask them to demonstrate it, which is like I said, the coding test part of it. Um, I mean, maybe just as a general like, are you familiar with this? Just if it's not a important thing to you, if it's like a be a nice to have, then it might be like that. Like I've asked those kinds of questions before. Like I've asked like, do you know what a partially applied function is, for instance? And that, but the goal was to just gain like
you
how
asked that
much.
question
Yeah,
for C for C sharp.
yeah, just but it was to just gauge a like level of like how much have they broadly
How
looked at
yeah,
programming,
how
like
invested are they?
because the goal of that interview was to figure out like at what level of an engineer like they are in terms of like their like knowledge and capability and stuff like that. And I feel like if you knew what a partially applied function was, like you've at least broadly looked at a lot of things when you're in the .NET space, anyways, because it's not something that you just wake up one day and go, "Oh, I'm going to learn about partially applied functions today." It happens as the course of of learning about various programming techniques and stuff. And I still like, I don't know, I still like functional programming. I wish that like more people would see the value of it, but it's just so hard with C
Move to
sharp.
Europe.
Yeah.
I still want to figure out. It's weird. Like Asia is like the entire Asia area is like alien to me, or aliens. Like I don't think we have like Asian influence on software engineering, and I want to figure out like what their philosophy is. How does it compare to mainstream philosophies here?
I don't know that that's any different. I
You
mean,
don't think so?
no.
Have you ever read a Chinese blog post in English, or a Japanese blog post in English, or a Korean blog post in English about something in .NET or
No, they're probably too busy getting work done.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I mean,
I mean, this all goes down to the same fundamental number one question ever that we've all been asking. Why didn't the continent of Africa, any of the areas, have bow and arrows? Right. So it's kind of related to it. I'm still like,
maybe it's just because they didn't like have the. Like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure they had bow and arrows.
they didn't have bow and arrows, dude. The entire continent didn't realize. I doubt if they even realized the
I thought
concept
we'd
of
look
a
this up
will.
one
The
day.
will was the will was invented by Caucasians, right? Who
What is
invented
it?
the will? They didn't have bow and arrows in Africa, dude. They didn't. They had spears.
Well, yeah, they had spears,
They
but that
didn't
doesn't
they
mean
didn't
they had
have
bows and arrows.
projectile, or they didn't have like lock and load, like wind up projectiles. They didn't have
Okay,
that
here. Bows and arrows believed to have arrived in Africa. This is according to ChatGPT.
in 2000.
In around 60 to 70,000 years ago. Archaeological evidence of the sites like the Sibutu Cave in South Africa indicates that early humans in the region were using bone and stone arrowheads around that time. They suggest that the technology to make bow and arrows was developed and used by Homo sapiens during Africa in the Middle Stone Age, significantly contributing to hunting and strategy survived. It's possible
Is that
that
a journal or is that .com?
that's ChatGPT.
Okay.
Um, uh, but it's possible that they just found spears to be more effective at what they were doing. If all you ever see is spears, spears were a highly effective thing. In fact, most medieval fights weren't swords; they were spears. Um, like swords were more used for like if
Yeah,
as
swords
a
are too personal.
yeah, swords were more used for like, okay, we've gotten a little bit too
Okay.
close now, and I don't have my
Like
thing
I
anymore.
miss trying to spear him, and now he's within like 10 feet of me. Pull out the sword.
Yeah, sword. Yeah, it's like okay, I'm screwed. But so like I would assume that they had bows and arrows. Now the question, like they didn't have longbowmen, which was more of a British thing. Longbows are extremely hard to shoot, I guess, because they're like it requires a lot of power to do them, but they're very effective.
Can you imagine like being mobilized for battle,
And try
and
to dodge arrows,
and
yeah.
they give you a sword, and they say attack that hill.
I'd shit myself probably, and
Your first contact is going to last like 3 to 5 seconds.
yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine that
Like
kind of
I used
warfare.
to watch the movie Glory. Yeah, have you seen that movie from back in the day, early '90s?
I might have.
It was a movie on the Civil War and how they used to
Maybe not.
literally just march towards each other,
Yeah,
pull
and they
out their
just
guns
pull
and
out the
shoot.
muskets to shoot. Yeah,
It's hard to imagine that that was literally. It's hard to imagine that even generals that was their strategy. Like, how do you graduate to leadership and that is your strategy on both sides, right? Union and Confederate.
yeah.
I wonder if Confederates drafted slaves to fight the Union.
I'm pretty sure they
It
did.
would make sense, right? But
Pretty
I
sure
don't
there
think I've
were.
ever read any content on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there were plenty of black folk that fought for the Confederacy, but
You know, I assume
maybe
the Indian,
reluctantly. I don't know.
I assume the Native Americans were wiped out, so they couldn't even build a coalition of the willing. Well, why? Because at the end of the day, it was still the white man that was still in charge, regardless of if it's Confederate or Union. So yeah, the Indians probably it didn't matter if they joined or not.
Yeah, yeah. The Civil War is something I don't really, I haven't really looked at very much. I mean, it's
There's
just not
books.
something I'm super interested in.
This man's personal library, he has books on the Wild West and the Civil War. I'm pretty sure I saw some model figures of some Native Americans somewhere.
Hmm.
Wyatt Earp, whatever that is.
The OK Corral is just a Western figure.
Something about the Alamo.
The Alamo. Is it Daniel Boone? His
I thought
last
it was
stand.
David Bowie. I don't know.
Daniel Boone. I thought it was. Wasn't it Daniel Boone?
Is that what the knife comes from?
The Bowie knife or the Boone?
Yeah,
I don't
Bowie
know.
knife.
No, I don't think so. I thought it was Daniel Boone. Or is it Davy Crockett? I always get those two guys mixed up for some reason.
Davy Crockett.
Okay,
What,
with Wild Frontier.
what about old Dan Tucker?
Old Dan Tucker was a fine old man. Was he lost
Mighty
his
man. Old Dan
he
Tucker was
lost
a mighty
his
man. Lost his combed his hair with
pan
a fry. Combed his
pan.
hair with a
There it is.
frying
Yeah.
pan. Uh, s- something something in the dragon wheel. Something something on his hill. I can't remember it. That was like freaking first grade.
Yeah. Who was the guy with the hammer? Big guy with the hammer.
You talking about Paul Bundy or Paul Bunyan? What's
No, Paul Bunyan had an axe. The guy who was like the one who like cracked the rocks open or whatever. He was a black guy, wasn't he?
I don't.
What's
I
his
never
name?
heard that. That's a Minnesota thing.
No, no.
Why he gotta be black?
Tall tales figure hammer guy. I'll just look that.
Samuel Jackson.
John Henry. There we go.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of John Henry?
Oh, you mean John Hancock?
No, John Henry.
No.
You never heard of John Henry?
For the third time, no.
He was on a stamp.
Does he
The
have a hammer?
African American folk hero who symbolizes strength and determination. Stories about John Henry are not just tall tales, but are based on a real live person, former slave working railroads after the Civil War.
Oh, you mean Nat Turner?
No, his name's John Henry. Look him up.
Nat Turner. Yeah, Nat Turner Slave Rebellion.
Look up John Henry.
Let me see.
You don't
I wonder.
remember John Henry?
No, they never. You remember Brave Star? I think I mentioned this to you before.
Brave Star? No.
The cartoon I was addicted to, and there's almost no artifacts from it anymore. No one knows about this cartoon. I'll make it very brief. I showed you this before. Hold up. I was. He was like, if I had the power of a bear, if I had the speed of a puma, right? He was a black cowboy.
Oh, yeah. You showed me this before.
I wanted to be Brave Star. Hold up.
Brave Star. The complete series, 1987 to 1989.
You remember Cowboys of Moo Mesa?
No.
Of course
I
you don't.
never really liked Western stuff.
I used to
Cowboys,
watch.
Indians, all that kind of stuff.
I used to watch one Saturday morning. I think it was on ABC Saturday mornings, and it was like 3-4 hours worth of cartoons.
Yeah, I used to watch that stuff on ABC too, but it was like a couple years after Brave Star.
Yeah, man, I might get this tatted on my shoulder.
There you go. Get
I
the
don't have
horse
any.
on one side.
You don't have any tattoos, do you?
No,
Neither do I.
I've got it picked out for if I ever do one, but I don't have any.
Tattoos are for people that want to join the circus.
Yeah, so the what I would get is the one I've got the concept. I don't have what it would look like, but be a double A battery. And just the reason why is like I thought about it be kind of like a symbolism thing because my kids' initials are both names. I've got two kids. They both start with A, so A and A, double A, two A's. Battery, like an energy source. It's like a whole symbolism thing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you should get a teardrop.
right here.
Yeah, killer.
So, do you get multiple teardrops?
Yeah,
I was thinking about getting the word "fuck" just right across my forehead. What do you think about that?
and then someone can walk up to your face and.
I'm gonna get a "do not enter" sign right above on my lower back too.
I mean, the reason why I don't have any tattoos because I'm very thoughtful, and I couldn't think of anything that I believed would represent me for my entire stay on this earth. That that wouldn't. It would have to be part of my identity for as long as I live, and not just a chapter in my life. Um, and that's probably one of the only things that I admire about Floyd Mayweather is as needy as he is for validation when he's been like a world champion for like more than 20 years, he doesn't have any tattoos. He doesn't look like a gangster. I noticed that about him. So, meanwhile, everybody else, including cops, they all look like gangbangers.
So, like, honest question: when like you can't do on a black person because of the darkness of the skin, you can't really do really like vibrant, colorful tattoos, can you? Not like you can do on like a white person.
well, I'm pretty sure that there's people that probably didn't do a lot of research that did it anyway.
Yeah,
But
I looked up
yeah,
I looked up
the
black people
contrast.
tattoos, and it's like yeah, they're mostly monochromatic.
It's usually just blue ink, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for the
Um,
most part.
I wonder all the people that I used to see when I would go to Cedar Point as a child or even as a adolescent that had the Tasmanian devil on their ankle and on their arms. I wonder how they're feeling right now.
Were
Like
they
people
old?
that they're old now,
Yeah, they're
right?
probably feeling dead now.
Or people that
But
used to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tattooed on them, or the Marvin the Martian. I wonder if they regret their decision.
I wonder. Uh, with Game of Thrones, there were a whole slew of people that named their kid Daenerys or Khaleesi, and I wonder how many of those people regretted it instantly after the Game of Thrones finale.
No, I have a better one, and this comes up. This comes up like every other month when I talk to you. The culture of people that keep naming their kids Jesus.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, he was my Uber driver. He worked at the gas
I think that's
station.
just this common Hispanic name, though. It's not.
There's
It's not.
I seen a couple of them on like America's Most Wanted. Like
It's not. Yeah, I think it's just a common name for. It's like how many? You know what's the biggest cliche?
I guarantee fathers don't name their kids Jesus.
You know what is a bigger cliche? How many people are named Muhammad? It's like if you're in the Middle East and you have a kid, it's like,
Is that
what
not considered blasphemy though?
what should we
Like,
name this kid? Let's name him Muhammad.
let's name them
So
Jihad.
we're gonna have Muhammad, and Muhammad. Like I don't how many. It's the most popular name in the world. Muhammad
Well,
is, but it's just like I don't know.
Mah- Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
Well,
Muhammad.
he renamed
Cassius
himself
Clay.
to Muhammad, right?
Yeah, because he was Cassius, right?
Yeah.
Cassius is a cool name. You don't really see people named Cassius much anymore. Do you? Do you know anyone named Cassius?
It sounds the short answer is no, and it sounds like it's like Greek or Roman or something. It sounds Roman.
Cassius? Maybe.
Yeah. It sounds like Nautilus.
Cassius Clay. Muhammad Ali. It autocorrects to Muhammad Ali. Oh, Cassius is
I
Cassis.
mean, Muhammad Ali is very light skinned. I'm almost positive he has his probably grandfather is probably like European or white.
Cassius is a masculine name of Latin origin, prevalent in the Shakespearean literature, and was a leading figure in the tragedy of Julius Caesar. Oh yeah, Cassius. Yeah. The name's Latin meaning is vain, but yeah.
I've been sitting on a tech conception video for like 5 weeks now that I haven't published.
Should
And
publish it.
it's just because I've been lazy and I haven't taken half an hour to just document the segments of the video or edit the segments, not edit, but document the segments of the video and then just publish it. It's a review of comments that people have left on episodes, and some of them write essays.
Good. That means you have engagement.
I think they just summon ChatGPT to write it for them.
Yeah, but they probably. I mean, if they're gonna do that, it's just trying to fill in their sentiment so that they don't look stupid. Like, haven't you ever written something and then popped it in ChatGPT and like make this better? Although
Yeah, I do it all the time.
it always comes back with like shit.
My spelling
Um,
is getting worse. You know
have you
what
ever
words? You know
have you
what
ever
words?
asked it to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you know what words I struggle with every single time on how to spell? Um, referral, offer. There's another word that I always have to like look up the spelling. I can't think of it right now. Uh, anyways, what is your question?
Oh, I was gonna say before I do that,
Similar. I struggle with every single. I don't know
similar.
how to spell the word similar.
Yeah, that's a hard one though. It's because it's Similiar, isn't it?
And
Well,
I keep on trying to add.
Simu. It's got a U in it though,
I
right?
keep on trying to add
No.
U's to it.
Yeah, because it's simular, isn't it?
I can't
So,
spell that word at all, dude. All
but
right, what?
have you ever fed your blog into ChatGPT and then asked to write in your voice at all?
No,
Should try
ask it
doing
to
that
write
one.
in my voice.
Yeah, because it could analyze like if you could feed it like all of your blog posts, and then it could learn what your voice of writing is, and then it will like what's your longest article on your blog?
Oh no, it's probably when I
Your
first started writing stuff, probably in 2015 or 2014.
blog is like
There's one called "Are You a Professional Debugger?"
harder to find than it used to be. You made it like a beach at the top, and now I can't find anything.
There should be "Are You a Professional Debugger?"
Let
or
me
just
see.
type in "professional debugger."
Bismonger professional debugger. Burger. Are you a professional debugger? Oh, that's not too long. That's a pretty short one.
I have another one called "Architects Are." I didn't say useless. I forgot the term I used. I forgot the word that I used, but I was slamming architects,
Read these blog posts.
and hence I work as an architect. Not
Style
at my current job, but
and learn the writing style voice. I'm just gonna feed a couple of them in
you should
there.
ask ChatGPT to be brutal in reviewing something that you write.
I could do that if you want. I could do it
Yeah,
on
like this mother
story
effer
driven.
can't do.
Let's see. What else we got here? Clean architecture Xamarin Forms. Oh my god.
Good luck.
All right, I'm gonna feed them 3 your blog posts. And I said, read these blog posts and learn writing style and voice. You have conversational and direct, critical and reflective, question-based intro, contrast comparison, use of lists, software development, encourage, blog post summaries. Okay. And I also tell it to read all the rest of the blog posts on that blog and learn the writing style, voice.
You keep saying voice when it's really expression, right?
Yeah. Well, like your writing has a voice, right?
I told you every technical book or any book that teaches me something has a white voice to it. That's pretty effed up.
All right. Now I'm gonna have it write something in your voice. Now that it's learned all that, write a defense of IOC containers written in the blog voice style. Power of IOC containers. Elevate your coding to professional standards. I don't know. I'll drop it to you here. But yeah, you can feed it. So like you can feed GPT your old stuff, and then it will learn your writing style and all of that kind of thing. And then you can just tell it to. You could give it some basic info on what you're trying to put down, and yeah. How can I
Sure.
copy this entire thing?
I'll plagiarize someone else's material and then tell ChatGPT to use my own voice, quote unquote.
Copy. Oh, you can have it read it to you too. But oh, it only copied like the first little bit. That's lame.
Oh, my battery is going to die. Oh, you sent me a link.
No, I sent you just some copy from this.
The power of IOC containers, elevating your code to professional standards in the ever-evolving landscape of software development. Maintaining clean, modular, and testable code is paramount. Yet, as projects grow and complexly managed, so shall I spend $700 on this Lego set? Really, my shopping cart is like over $2,000 worth
Well,
of
do you
Lego.
have how much? What do you have in terms of the Star Wars Lego kits right now?
In the car, I got about $230 worth of Lego sets between
Star
like 3 or 4 boxes.
Star Wars specifically?
Yeah, I
and
did a
even
little dinosaur thingy with my son 2 nights ago. But yeah, um, yeah, I got like 3 or 4 sets.
yeah, that
But three of them were like battle packs, and one is a serious one that was like $140.
I'd put them together and decide whether you want to do that more.
Uh,
Then buy one at a time
uh,
until you get bored, and then you move on from Legos to something else.
go back to motorcycles.
Watches, chess. Maybe you learn Go. Teach me how to play Go.
Nah, I still play chess multiple times a day.
I'll get you onto League of Legends, and then you'll be stuck on it like I am.
Well, if they have it on PlayStation, then I'll probably get hooked on it. But I'm not doing it on
PC game,
PC.
man. They have it on the mobile phone. You can play it on your phone. I don't really like phone games though.
That's gay.
TFT is fun though on the phone, which is a variant of the game. It's not anything like that game, but it's like battle chess. You ever heard of? You ever played that? There's some randomness involved in it, but there's actually a lot of randomness involved. But there's strategy.
No, I'm not familiar with it. There's something called Blitz that's like chess related, but I heard it's so addictive that I didn't bother even trying to play because I think I'll get hooked.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to try a game in that universe that League of Legends universe, you download TFT on your phone and play it. TFT, what you have is so they have sets of champions that are in like a grouping, and you buy them and then you place them on a board, and then basically every round of battle will play out, and based on where you place people and how you and the builds that you have and the items that you put on them and the augments and things that you buy, like you'll either win or lose the battle. Um, it's an esports. People like play this at a professional level. So there's randomness to it, but a lot of it is evaluating the strategy of the people that are on the boards around you, um, and knowing basically like how the game works in terms of how champions come out and making decisions about whether to re-roll or to level up or which items to put on which players. It's a whole thing, but
I see
it's a
the.
fairly low intensity game. So
No, I'm not gonna play it because I'm gonna get addicted. I don't know my personality type, man. So
yeah, you play it, then I'll play with you, and then you'll kick my ass in it.
yeah.
But all right,
You have any plans for the weekend?
I'll probably have another camping thing I'm gonna be doing.
I was thinking about
A little bit lower key.
I was thinking about going to Put in Bay this weekend. It's probably gonna be hella crowded. Put in Bay
Railway.
is an island in Lake Erie.
That's right. You're in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks. That's what I think of Cleveland every time is just the Drew Carey show.
Yeah, I haven't done anything. Obviously, it's hard for me to go out because I've been watching my kids the entire time. I don't know. I don't really have any desire. I had a desire to go to a strip club like 4 days ago, but that died off very fast. Yeah, man, this town is dead. Yeah, so on that note,
Alrighty.
we'll
Yeah,
catch
we'll
up.
catch you next week.
See
Yep.
ya. Bye.